Alright guys, hello and welcome to the first installment of Verbatim Podcast. Today is April 2nd, 2018. We got a wider range of topics today, everything from the Villanova-Michigan game, Final Four championship game, all the way down to self-driving cars, Pope Francis saying there's no hell. So got some good friends with us here today. Cole Myers is here.
What's up?
Ian.
Ayo.
And Josh.
What's up?
And my brother, Jared.
Hello.
Okay, so first topic, Villanova versus Michigan tonight, 9:20 I believe is the time. It's being played in San Antonio, so East Coast is kind of getting dicked over here. Late game.
Very true.
Yes.
On a weekday. So who do you guys got?
Fucking Michigan, man. Through and through, man. Fucking...
I guess I got to go Michigan on this one.
Gotta go blue, man.
I think you guys are going Michigan because you want Michigan to win, but I think if you're being realistic about it, Villanova is just clearly the dominant.
Well, yeah.
Nova just whooped poor Kansas into shape. That was disgusting.
You always got to go for the underdog.
In my bracket, I picked Michigan to win it. I hadn't played Kansas. Kansas lost, but
I had Kansas winning it all.
Michigan, Wagner or whatever, that guy.
Wagner.
The beast.
Michigan's
fuck around.
factor. If he plays well and he can shift the momentum in Michigan's favor, that's their only shot. If Villanova plays as half as good as they did played against Kansas, they're gonna win.
Oh, they set records for
it's the entire team that needs to actually come together, because like Wagner was able to take control of the last game because it was a worse team. Loyola Chicago, they don't have the bench, so Wagner was able to fill the spots that Michigan wasn't filling.
He did that against every team though. Like every game in the March Madness, he's done really good.
Higher tournament, and I think that's their only chance. If he's playing well, they have a chance. If he's not, it's over. Villanova's clear.
Oh, yeah.
They shoot threes.
Yeah, they're just too hot. Especially coming off that Kansas win, like they're cocky right now. They're ready.
I agree with the whole if they shoot threes it's nothing, but you can also make the same argument for Michigan whenever they were playing against Texas A&M. They shot in a ridiculous amount of threes there too against a very formidable adversary. So
the Texas A&M game wasn't
the capability in the first half.
The Texas A&M game wasn't just over the weekend, so they're coming off of that and they're feeling hot. I mean, Michigan barely pulled away from Loyola Chicago, a team that was pretty much a Cinderella story.
That's still pretty
but
good.
I mean, it's still
second half they dominated.
It's an underdog Cinderella story team that they squeezed by, and they were losing to, if I remember, during the first quarter or half.
I mean, can you really make that argument though, considering they also have beaten one of one seeds, the University of Virginia?
I mean, but it's just the idea that maybe Michigan isn't feeling as pumped as Villanova beating Kansas, another number one seed.
I think they're probably equally pumped. You might actually come away feeling more pumped with whenever you play a closer game and you win it, opposed to blowing someone out.
I agree with that argument. I think the bottom line though is, regardless, if Villanova plays good and Michigan plays good, Villanova has the upper hand. Just if they both play their good games,
statistically speaking, Villanova definitely has the upper hand.
So in order for Michigan to win this, I think they're gonna have to depend on either Villanova doing something, just playing shitty, or some Michigan, if they start making threes like Villanova did, that's your only chance.
I haven't done too much research into Michigan, but I know Ian, you might know this. What defense do they normally run, zone or man?
Zone.
Okay, because I saw I think it was the first half of the Villanova game. Kansas brought it in within 10 because they switched from man to zone, and they went on a 6-0 run. So if Michigan can get a zone firing on all cylinders, that might also be a pretty big factor in this.
I agree.
So we had a bracket for this too, amongst some of us. Cole and Ian were in this, and Jared. Jared
was not in this. You guys, it's a stupid bet.
Jared and I were not stupid enough to follow through with this one.
It's a lose-lose.
I don't know. I feel like I'm winning. I feel like I'm winning right now.
Yeah, it's a
essentially it was just a bracket tournament where it came down to me and someone else. The loser gets pepper sprayed. So right now it stands as
and the winner gets nothing.
They get the
Yeah, the
pepper
winner,
spray.
that's the thing. We should have implemented something that the winner gets, but
I don't know. I think the whole point of this bet was just out of fear, like the fear of getting pepper sprayed, and like just the winning is not getting pepper sprayed.
yeah.
So wait,
the thing is,
how about what about if the winner is the one who gets to pepper spray the loser?
that's what I was thinking.
That wouldn't be
doesn't
worth
really
doing
matter.
it.
Oh wait,
Still wouldn't have been
that would
worth
mean I get the pepper spray. Hey, I'm down with
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it doesn't matter. All that matters is somebody's getting pepper sprayed, and unfortunately, as it looks right now, it is our friend here, Jacob Mueller.
Yeah, it's me, but we had some math discrepancies. So if our friend, the other friend that's in this, Joe, his name's Joe.
I don't think you want to say this. I don't think you want to. You might watch this.
If,
Yeah,
no,
okay,
if,
cool.
no, it's fine. It's fine. If he screws up the math, which he probably will,
There's a good chance.
and
It's a terrible idea,
because
Jake.
here's what happened: Cole and Ian had me winning with their math. So if Joe makes the same mistake that they did and has me winning again, he's just gonna get pepper sprayed.
You just dug your
So it'll
grave.
just be his fault, or maybe I'll get pepper sprayed with him or something. But we'll figure it out.
The grave was dug when he lost, Jared.
No, but now that he has it on video, that he's like gonna try to meme
Yeah,
Joe, he's screwed.
It
Sorry,
was
does Joe know
game
this
over
exists?
from the start. It
I
doesn't
mean, yeah,
matter.
I don't believe Joe knows.
Isn't he in
Yeah,
the?
I don't think he
podcast
knows.
Yeah,
He sees it in here, but he won't. Trust me, it's Joe.
that's right.
But yeah, so pepper spray.
I hope he never sees
I
it,
don't
dude.
want to get pepper sprayed. I know getting pepper sprayed is not fun.
No, it should
I'm
not be.
curious. I like personally, I find the idea of getting pepper sprayed, interesting to say the least. I mean, it's something that you always see. I know it's not going to be pleasant, but I think
yeah.
if I were to ever get pepper sprayed,
Police
at least
officers
it'd be in a
and
controlled
It's a-
environment.
they'll have to get pepper sprayed, so it's like one of those things that they have to do to like,
Right. Yeah.
get to be able to.
It's
use pepper
definitely an interesting experience. If you're going to get pepper spray, do not get the stuff that's rated for bears and stuff, because it's actually less potent than what they use on humans because of animal cruelty issues and stuff. So
Good.
make sure you
Our
actually
resident
get
nature
stuff
boy,
rated for
Josh
humans.
Baker.
We want to go easier on the animals.
Thank you for knowing. Thank you for that knowledge, Josh.
Resident
Yeah,
nature boy,
exactly.
Josh
Everybody
Baker.
always thinks if it can bring down a bear, it's probably more toxic than just something that you'd use like the police would use or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's actually the other way around.
Wow. You learn new stuff every day. I wanted to bring up this topic. So Joe, the other person in the bet who's not part of the podcast, was he said that for the next bet that he actually would consider, well, not even consider, he wanted to do waterboarding as the punishment, which I think is absolutely nuts.
I mean, he's sadistic, obviously.
I think I don't
I think
know
Ian
in
that's
what
a
world.
little
as
far.
joke.
Well, I made the suggestion as a joke, of
and then
course.
he took it literally.
Yeah, Joe, he kind of ran with it,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
surprised to see that he really seemed like he actually thought that was a good
Hey,
idea.
man. He's trying to get in the military and shit. It might be like some training or something, you
No.
know? Like,
Hey, what?
Joe
might be
was
trying to do
Joe-
it for like.
Joe's not thinking that. Joe's thinking
Loser.
the one thing that gets Joe off is pain. So Joe's just like, I need to get my fix.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And I made an awful suggestion, too. It wasn't just like waterboarding. I was suggesting we do it with gasoline, and he was like, yes.
Well, okay. Joe drew the line at gasoline. I'll give him that much. He did draw the line at gasoline.
Oh, did he draw the line at
But
that?
he
in order
did.
to be truly waterboarded, the person doing the waterboarding has to it's like a form of torture. Like they have to be either like trying to dig for information or like just generally don't like the person to the point
Or,
where
I
they
mean,
want to like.
You have to make it
close to
uncomfortable
death.
situation for them. So, like, if they want to tap out, you don't let them tap out.
Yeah, but
Because that's
who's gonna do?
waterboarding.
Like, I can't picture
Yeah,
any of you
well,
guys waterboarding
Yeah,
someone.
I can tell you right now that
I mean, Josh would probably do it, right?
if
I don't know. I have some boundaries. Okay.
this is probably the bet I would draw the line at. I don't think I would. I
Yeah.
don't think I would commit to that. It would have to be some sort of insane thing that there was a high chance I would win for me to want to be a part of that.
Well, actually, interestingly enough, I saw a snap, not too long ago of one of me and Josh's closer friends, and his dorm mates decided to waterboard each other in their dorm room, and I saw that video. It was very, very interesting, and it did seem quite effective because the man, whenever he began to get waterboarded, jumped out of his seat because it looked painful, or he was in, not
Oh yeah,
feeling
I mean
very
you're
good.
you're suffocating. You're literally being drowned. That's
You
the
have
whole
to
thing.
time down and shit. You can't just let him sit there.
Right.
Okay, so moving on from Villanova, Michigan, and all the torture talk, ESPN
Thank
had
God.
an article not too long ago about who they considered the most dominant athlete within, I believe it was the past 10 years. And you can go look at that article yourself. But what I want to know is who you guys consider the most dominant athlete over the past 10 years. Me and Jake already had a heated argument about this at one point, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion and see if we could chat about it for a little.
Well, I think that's a really interesting question. Jake actually brought it up to me that you guys did have this argument and that you guys came to the conclusion, or at least Jacob definitely had, that Serena Williams, which I can definitely get behind that. Serena Williams, definitely the most powerful athlete in tennis right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you go through sports, you got Tiger Woods.
Mhm.
That's like if you're doing 20 years, Tiger would be definitely the top.
I think even in the past 10 years, he's still, probably.
I mean, the stuff he's been
like
dealing
the
with, and to be
2008
able to continue playing.
Definitely LeBron James in basketball in the past 10
That's
years.
what I was saying. I was saying that maybe LeBron James in general might have been the most dominant athlete, which was a spark for maybe not like
that's why I disagree.
very debatable.
yeah.
It's
That's
hard,
where
here's
the disagreement
why.
came.
It's hard to take someone that plays on a team who's played with guys like Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and say that he's dominant when he's played with teammates who are exceptional and have led him to get the championships and win those championships. It's not like LeBron was the only part of that. And you have
Kobe
someone
for
like
the
Serena
win.
Williams who's won 23 Grand Slam titles. She's 11 of which she's just beating players who were ranked number 1. I mean, that's just completely dominating the sport. And there's no one else you can say. You can't attribute that success to anyone else except for her.
I think that
Roger
something.
Federer has
I hope.
20.
Yeah, Roger Federer. Yeah.
I at least hope that there's something we can all agree on is that LeBron definitely belongs in the conversation. No doubt
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's definitely top 5.
I mean, I'm sure there's other basketball players we could argue, but maybe not within the last 10 years.
For sure.
It's not.
You
it's
could
not that
argue-
he's
you
not
could argue
dominant,
Floyd
it's
Mayweather.
just that-
Oh,
Yeah, Floyd
there's a
Mayweather.
solid argument for
Oh,
Floyd
yeah,
Mayweather.
Floyd
It is
Mayweather.
not
That
that
is
he's won.
that's a good argument. Yeah.
It would
He's
be
crazy.
even more if he fought McGregor in MMA and knocked him out. That would definitely put him like probably number 1.
Another aspect you have to look at is when you say domination and you say athlete, you have to look at what sports they're playing.
Yeah.
If you can't take a guy who's playing, ping pong and say that he's dominant and he's beating everyone because, I mean, what's he really doing? Like, he's mastered the ability to hit a ball that's coming at him. I mean, yeah.
You could say that about
Isn't that really what sports is, though?
Yeah.
It's so much harder.
For any sport.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's so much harder.
tennis, essentially, you're hitting a ball
Yeah,
that's coming at you.
No,
Now, wait a minute.
Larger scale.
The thing about tennis, though, is you have to run to the ball back and forth until the other person screws up or you screw up. And it
I mean,
just-
I guess, but have you seen
look at tennis players
professional
often they
table
play.
tennis?
They're sweating their asses off.
Mhm.
That's extremely
Hey man, them ping pong players, they
Yeah.
pretty hard.
You should take a closer look at some of those table
Yeah, I was
tennis
gonna
players,
say,
man. They're like
That's what they got all those like headbands and stuff on for, It's to keep the sweat from getting down. Like,
They're like 20
I
feet
think-
from the table, just like smacking that thing as hard as they can, man. They're pretty ridiculous. I don't.
you're gonna
I
have
don't
lightning
think they're
fast reflexes.
I think
point
the
is,
poll and everything was
it's
taken on the
harder-
popularity of the sport, not just.
one person that you could also put into like the pool is Michael Phelps, man. Like
He was in it. Yeah, he was in
How
it.
many medals he's won?
he's up there. Yeah, he's dominant. But see, in the Olympics, though, because I'm not sure how swimming works is like outside of the Olympics because we really just look at it as far as it is played in the Olympics. But as far as the Olympics goes, the countries send over their best swimmer, but the best swimmer in Portugal may not be any. He may just be shitty, So
Yeah, he
like,
might not be better than the
kinda look at
second best swimmer from America.
Right. So it's like, yeah, but he's definitely impressive. So that's
Yeah.
the thing. I value the athletic ability. I value because different sports, it's harder to play. So it's like I value that athletic ability to play basketball more than I value the athletic ability to like swim. And that's just I mean I never swimmed professionally or swimmed competitively, so I don't really know for sure. But just looking from the outside in, that's how I see it. And I just like kind of figure like, okay, it's probably harder to run back and forth on a court and dunk and slam the ball and like do layups and
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff than it is to just swim.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably it's hard, but I don't know. It just seems like
So-
it's athletic to do certain sports.
So with this list, I kind of found like I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I kind of found an issue that I feel like I don't agree with saying a quarterback is a very dominant athlete, because quarterbacks are only as good as people around
Well, that's
them.
the same as the basketball thing, isn't
Well,
it?
no,
It's the same argument.
because you can, like, LeBron, he could single-handedly like go to any team in the NBA and make them a contender. Well, not maybe a contender, but definitely a playoff team. But like say like Tom Brady, like if he didn't have Belichick and some like pretty decent like receivers, he would be nothing. Like, I mean, imagine if Brady was drafted to the Browns and played with them like his whole career. You think he would be anything that he is now? You know what I mean?
That's true. That's
I
true.
don't know, man. I don't think you could take LeBron James and throw him on someone like the Sacramento Kings and expect him to take him to the championship.
Well,
or
he
the
did it.
finals
He did it
even.
when he was young. He did it in his first round of the Cavs. I don't know. I don't know if they made it to the championship, but they made it to the playoffs.
That was years ago, though.
They
Yeah,
went to
but
the
still,
playoffs.
that's the argument. He was.
Came
Yeah, but
into
he's
Miami
playing
with a
good.
pretty good team.
LeBron was doing this when he was young. I mean, I guess we'll see more about it if he actually goes to like the Lakers or some crazy stuff like
Came
that.
into Miami.
Lakers.
Is he a free agent coming up?
Decent team though.
Yeah, well, not nearly as good as the Cavs or the Heat were. Like,
Oh yeah.
but
LeBron's championship, the first one he went to was in 2007, and in 2006, that Miami Heat team won the finals, and he came into a team that literally won the finals, and ever since then he's been on good teams. He's had good players.
he's
around him.
a
No, you said,
here's the thing,
you said
he's
they won in
attracted
2006.
to good
He came
players.
in 2010, right?
He came in 2007, so the 2006
Miami?
Miami Heat team won the finals, and then he came in 2007, and I believe they went to the
Seriously?
yeah. He
Yeah,
came
well,
into a championship
outside of the Miami Heat, I want to talk about, like, at a young age, him being a force on the early Cavs. You know what I mean? Like, on the early Cavs when he first came in, he was putting up numbers and stuff.
Oh yeah, he's a good player. I'm just saying, like,
I definitely don't think, like, I think there's a better argument for why LeBron should be there than Tom Brady.
yeah, I agree with that.
No, on the list for ESPN, they have Peyton Manning instead of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I saw
think
that.
I definitely disagree with that. I think
No.
I think that
'Cause
Tom Brady's
in
probably
football,
a better
you have so many players.
Mhm.
If you're a quarterback, you have so many players you have to depend on. Your receivers, and not to mention your line, your offensive
Mhm.
line. If you have a shitty line, your quarterbacks, you're going to be done for if you're a quarterback and you have a shitty line.
Yeah, that's the thing, because LeBron, he's like proven that he could pretty much play any position on the court, and that's what I think makes him pretty dominant. I mean, he played a game at point guard and it had a great game. Like, it's just like that's what I think makes him dominant, is that he's just not restricted to what he's at.
He's dominant, clearly. Not even
Yeah.
question.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially
for sure. He's
especially
definitely
at the moment. Okay, here's a good question. Basketball. Before we transition on to the next topic, basketball, most dominant athlete of all time.
Oh man, that's a really tough.
Mine is Wilt Chamberlain. That's
I can't
my
agree with
opinion.
that. I can't agree
Michael
with
Jordan, 100%.
Wilt
the
is the man.
that. Michael
Dude.
Jordan? No, I don't think so. I think he was a terrible team
I have
player.
to say LeBron. I have to say LeBron.
That's a solid.
I think
these are
Kobe.
all solid. Like, they're not all like bad
definitely not
arguments.
Kobe.
How many? Michael Jordan has more
I
championships.
think probably LeBron actually.
I feel like if
Yeah.
some circumstances some things about Kobe were different, he definitely would be in this argument.
I mean, there's so many players you can go back and like look at. I mean, like looking at like the Celtics back in the day, or
yeah.
even like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Lakers with like Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like
Bill
those
Russell.
teams were ridiculous. Yeah, Bill Russell. I mean, it's really hard to say, but I feel like, you know, LeBron's just been breaking so many records lately. I can't see anybody else being.
And
the
he's
most
playing,
Yeah,
he's been
in
playing
modern
for
age
so long, though.
basketball. Playing in modern age.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always that debate: is the
Mhm.
modern age of basketball more difficult than the old age?
Yeah,
And
but
mean,
how
that's how
long
it
has
is for
how
every
long has
sport.
LeBron James been in the NBA compared to Michael Jordan? Like, isn't it? He's probably
Um,
already like at the
not sure
same
about
time
that.
frame, right?
I feel like they've been in for like a
Close.
comparable amount of time.
Yeah. But LeBron's
Yeah,
not
but
done yet. That's the thing.
LeBron's not
LeBron's still
slowing down.
going. But that doesn't matter. Like, that just shows
Yeah,
that
that's
Michael
not a
Jordan
factor.
fatigued and got out. That's
Yeah,
even,
that shows
that's
that
even
he's a
putting
better
more.
player, LeBron. Yeah.
Well, Michael Jordan has more championships in that amount of time, and he took off what, like 3 years or something? Or he didn't even play, or 2 years? Came back and he still won.
No, he did terrible on the Wizards. Are you kidding me?
No, but he stopped playing for like 2 years, then he came back for the Bulls and then won like 3 championships.
Yeah,
I
but he
think
had
96,
Rodman.
97, 98.
He had
Yeah,
Rodman,
that's-
Pippen all around him and stuff.
Yeah, but still, LeBron has a ton of great players. He had Dwayne Wade and Bosh in Miami, and then Cleveland he has Kyrie and Ray Allen too. Like,
Yeah,
Now
but
he has
who
Kyrie,
does
or he had Kyrie last
what
year.
superstar does he have
Browns.
around him right now? Like, what consistent superstar that like Jordan had, like Pippen or Rodman. Like, what superstar around him does he have at this
now
moment?
He doesn't really have a superstar, but
Yeah, but they're not like
right
they're not doing that great. So
Yeah, but that's not stopping LeBron from. I think I saw a thing. It was like he scored double digits on like the last
Less
like
good players
500
around
games
score
or
those
something
points.
like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So now we've exhausted that one. The Masters are approaching, fellas. Since it would appear that only 2 people here know a whole lot about the Masters, we're going to instead discuss some of the good stories we have from golfing, since we all enjoy it as a hobby, except for Josh, probably not as much.
Fuck golf.
But there have been
Go
some
on,
good stories
slap
about
ball.
it. There have been some good stories about it in the past years, and I figured this would be a good time for us to just discuss a couple of the key best ones that we got.
Well, I was thinking my favorite story by far is the time we were golfing at a local golf course, and it was I don't even know who was with us. It was definitely Jarrett and Jacob were with me, at least. And this man, he hit a golf ball and it landed very close to me while I was standing on the green. And I said, "Hey, man, next time, 4. That's fair, right?" I thought that.
They were on a hole that was next to the green, and that fairway ran across, like right next to the green we were hitting onto. So as we were going to the green, they were hitting their second or third shots on the fairway across from that green.
And
so
it landed like
right next to us.
It was like a foot away from me.
Forgot about the story.
And it was very close, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, when Ian, we hit it, and Ian almost got hit. And what the heck was that?
Yeah. So I said, "Hey, man, next time yell fort." The next thing I know, this dude's like, bolting at me, man. And he gets in my face. Keep in mind, at this time, we're like 14? Yeah, around 14.
Nah, we were like
15,
14
or 15, somewhere around there. Freshman, I think.
So this guy's running up to me, and he's like in my face, like, "I'll beat the fucking shit out of you. What the fuck did you say to me?" Saying shit like that, and I'm just like, I was just sitting there. I didn't know how to respond to this dude, and like I just kind of like kept backing up as any sane person would when there's a maniac in front of you threatening to harm you. And eventually he kind of like backed off when his friend came over.
Yeah, he had a friend. He was kind of trying to calm him down. You could tell the guy was drinking, and he was triggered by what happened.
I think my favorite part though is like when we had finally moved on to the next hole, and then like he like came riding back up on his golf cart. He's like, "I'm really sorry, man. My friend's really drunk." It's like noon. He's like day drinking the shit out of it and stuff. I'm like, good for him. Whatever. It was just that was a surreal experience for sure.
Yeah, if we were older, I think it would be more, because I don't know, what Ian said was right. Like the guy, like it's you could tell someone on the golf course, "Hey, just watch out next time behind you, so like be careful." But we were so young, it was like, what is this guy doing? Like, we're kids.
Hey,
like,
go to fucking jail beating up some minors.
Yeah, I mean, if his friend didn't hold him back, yeah, he was really mad. Like, this guy was pissed off.
It was like the stupidest reason to be mad too. It was like some reasonable advice.
It was his fault too. Like, he hit the ball at you. It's not like you were like running at it. Like, you weren't in the fairway or anything. We were on our green.
Yeah, I don't know. That dude was definitely having a good time until then. Apparently,
I'm sure he probably saw it a good time after that.
Probably. He probably doesn't remember the golfing actually.
Yeah, he probably doesn't remember that day, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so one of my favorite stories is at another local golf course. We were golfing. I believe it was like me, Jake, Jarrett, the other guy Joe, and his younger brother were with us, and we got to one of the
golf squad
the tees, and they have like little markers to like show like the distance, like one's a woman's tee, one's a man's tee, and I think I don't know if there's any motivation behind it, but I literally just took one of the tees and put it in my bag because I'm a souvenir collector. I currently have a curb in my room.
Oh, you're a thief.
No, I call it souvenir collecting. But I took it from the golf course, and Joe's brother Luke was like losing it. He got so mad at me.
He works there. So.
Yeah, he works there, but he was threatening to like tell on me, and he was like, "Dude, put it back. It isn't funny." But since this isn't a long story, I'll just keep it short. I still have it. I never put it back. We faked putting it back. I still have it. It's currently in the back of my car. But that is one of my better ones. One of my better golf
Called
stories.
a kleptomaniac.
They've since replaced all of the tee boxes with new markers. So
Wait, seriously? What are
they
they?
noticed at some point, but they probably don't care too much.
Probably not. My second favorite one, I'll keep it quick since my last one was quick. One time we were golfing with our other friend Alec, and he was at the tee box, and he was going to hit my ball I set up to tee, and it was like my last ball because I'm awful at golf, and I didn't want him to hit it. So I was like, Alex, stop. I actually had 2 balls. Let me correct that because I had another one in my pocket. I picked it up and I kind of like arced it as a joke to try to hit him, and lo and behold, hit him right in the head. Dropped him like a rock, and he didn't pass out or anything, but he was yelling, and that was interesting. So that's my 2.
That leads me to a story that I cherish very much. Whenever we were on the golf team, few of us were on the golf team, me, Jarrett, and Jake, and I don't remember who hit the ball. Oh right, it was this kid named Luke. He hit the ball. We were chipping around on a chipping green, and he hit the ball, and it hit this other kid like right in the side of the head. And we're talking like this ball was moving, right? Like it wasn't just like a lob, like or an arc or whatever.
He bladed a chip. He bladed a chip.
Yeah, went right into this other player's head, and he had to like leave, and he had like a serious concussion, and was out for the rest of the golf season. That was pretty funny.
First ever concussion on the golf team.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty embarrassing if you're like you get out for an injury in golf that you got while playing golf.
Hey, that's why they made us take those tests. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is bullshit."
Those concussion tests.
They were right. They won.
Yeah, we took the test.
They knew it, man. They knew it.
That was a funny time. I couldn't believe that happened. Oh man, classic.
Yep. I also have a story of when this kid got hit in the back. So this is also on the golf team, and we were playing with this kid named Robbie. He was like a year below us, and this kid named Ben, who was a year older than us. And we were walking up, and this kid Robbie had to hit another ball because his went in the water. So he like ran back behind us, and most good golfers could avoid the people, but Robbie's not a very good golfer. So we were walking, and we just heard this clap, and it hit Ben right in the back, and he was screaming and shit, and he had a giant ass whelp. Like he got shot by like 10 paintballs in the same spot, but
one last story real quick from either Jake or Jarrett. I don't know if this might be too morbid or what, but I really like the goose story.
Oh god, the goose story.
I've heard this one.
I would like that one to be said.
Jared, did you see this happen? Like,
no, I was. We were playing together.
I was there. I saw it happen.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, because it was the girl. It was the new girl golfer that hit the ball.
We had a girl on the team. The only girl on the team.
Yeah. Freshman too.
First of all, a little preface here. At this golf course we play at and practice at, there's a ton of geese. They just kind of roam the course and shit everywhere. And what had happened was she was teeing up. I'm not sure where she was at on the course or whatever, but basically she was by the water hazard, so that's where like the geese kind of congregated. And she went to hit, and she hit the ball, and it hit one of the goose, and it just nailed it right in the head. And it hit it in the neck, snapped the neck, and the goose just walked around with its neck just like messed up. Oh, that's
it
right.
was terrible.
Yeah, hit. That's right. Yeah. So the goose was walking around like bent neck. Pretty much.
And we kept trying to. We got the coach's attention, and we were like, "Hey, man, can we like put it out of its misery? Does anyone have a gun at the clubhouse or something, like a 22?" It was just going around going like, "Ah!" It was pretty horrendous, you know. The girl was like over in like the corner somewhere, like sobbing or something. She felt really bad. And this poor goose was just like running in circles as its neck was snapped in half. It was pretty traumatic, really. And there was nothing we could do. The coach just. The coach just let it die somewhere eventually.
I thought Luke Carpenter did that.
What ended up happening was this kid Luke, who's on the team. He's
Eagle
in
Scout.
West Point now. He's an Eagle Scout. West
What a
Point.
guy!
Oh
Yeah,
man,
basically, yeah. But he decided that it would be a good idea to end the goose's misery, and his method of doing that was going up to the goose, grabbing it by the neck, and just twirling it around and twisting its neck until it died.
I wasn't there for that. Oh my god.
That's how you ring it. That's a common thing, though. Actually,
It's so fucked
Yeah,
up.
but he didn't do it right. I know it's a common thing, but he just didn't.
I didn't
right.
do it
And
right?
He just made it worse, and it was like at this point it was freaking out and stuff.
Oh man.
Oh Jesus
And-
Christ! Why didn't you guys just like take a club or something and just whack
That's what
it?
I was telling
That's
him.
what I was
When
suggesting that,
When they
yeah.
got back, that's what I told him. I said, all you guys had to do. I know this probably would be kind of like screwed up, but you know, if you wanted to kill it and end its misery and actually do it right, you just take a club. You have like 10 of them in your bag and just slam its neck or slam
Yeah,
its head.
take a 9 irons right to its head, man. You know.
It'll kill it pretty quick.
Put the T right underneath of it, get a good drive out of it.
Yeah, so that was it.
Its head just
And
pops off.
Like I said, I didn't see it happen, but they all described it to me, and yeah, basically he tried to kill.
I didn't
my
see him do that. Wow, I totally forgot that he did that.
Yeah,
But now that you're saying
a good
it,
one. That's a good one. I like that one. But I figured it's a good time to segue to the next one since we're at the 30-minute mark currently. There's a question I have to ask. Where the fuck are you, Elder Scrolls 6?
Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know where you're at, but you need to come soon.
2019.
You don't come
We're
in the next
we're
5
getting sick and
years.
tired of Elder Scrolls
The next
VR,
5 years.
if it doesn't come in
Jesus.
the next 5 years,
And
man,
Elder
that'll be
Scrolls
really
VR.
good.
Hey,
They
hey,
haven't,
20
since last year, they
2019.
haven't started, according to their Twitter.
Look it up. Look it up.
It does keep saying 2019 when I look it up, but I don't know what that means.
I thought the
That's always
2019
weird.
release. I thought that was supposed to be Elder Scrolls VR.
Yeah, I'll be really. I know they're making that, but
Isn't
that's
that
already
Skyrim?
coming out. That's already on Steam.
Skyrim?
It'll come out. It comes out in like April 20th.
Oh,
Elder
okay,
Scrolls
okay.
VR.
At least there's
Which
still hope.
apparently
There's
is
still
supposed to
hope.
be really good. The Fallout 4 VR got really good reviews. Everyone who plays it says it's really a pleasure to play.
Yeah, then you
But
have
of
to
course,
spend money
none
on
of us own
VR.
VR gear, and I don't really care to replay the game. You know, for the 100th
Yeah.
time. I kind of want a
Well,
new at this point.
when Skyrim came out, I really didn't appreciate it because at that time I wasn't into the series or anything, and now I can understand it because at that time it was kind of hyped up and people were freaking out about it, and I was like, what is this game? So I ended up buying it and playing it, and that's when I fell in love with Elder Scrolls.
Actually, I bought it and then you played my copy. But yeah.
Ooh,
either
scandal.
way,
Auto
Either
buy.
way, I played it, and now when this comes out, and when this is close to coming out, and I'm gonna be with the hype because
Oh, I'm so with the hype. I love Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, but we were with the hype with Fallout, and it's just big letdown.
I mean, it was.
That is true.
I don't know if it was a big letdown,
Yeah, it's not a
but
big
it was
letdown.
definitely not what I wanted.
What,
I
you
was
talking
hoping
about
for
4?
more. Yeah, Fallout 4. I was wanting more of like an open-ended experience where it's really linear. The Fallout 4 campaign, because like you only have 2 different endings. Even though like you can end it with multiple different factions, there's only really 2 different endings, and that really upset me because like Fallout New Vegas, as we all can agree, is our favorite Fallout game, and it's just there's so much you can do. You know, you have like the Yes Man, you have the I'm drawing a blank here right now. NCR, the Mr. House. And there's so many different like little variables that you can include in there too, because you can opt to get the boomers on your side, or the Enclave, or the Brotherhood, and all that little stuff. It really just makes you feel so much more immersed. Where in Fallout 4, like you can't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, you
You
got,
just
like,
have
the
to choose
Minutemen.
one faction.
that's about
Yeah.
it.
The Minutemen, the Railroad, the
We need to
Brotherhood.
defend another settlement.
Defend
build
another
your
settlement.
settlement.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, I've still been able to get like 300 hours out of that game, which seems sad. But the thing that really got me into the game again is because I've beaten this DLC so many times, because it reminds me a lot of Fallout New Vegas, is the Far Harbor DLC, which kind of has that variability. I love that DLC.
Quality DLC.
Yeah.
Quality.
So I'm hoping that I'm really hoping that Skyrim comes back to us, just like, or not Skyrim, but Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
comes back
Yeah,
to us
wherever it is.
Yeah.
with all the variability that
we can
New
cross our
Vegas
fingers.
and Skyrim had.
Yeah,
I mean-
they're taking forever to make it, so hopefully it will be well worth the wait.
At
Because
least
that
think
game,
it will.
that game
I think
even
it will.
Skyrim seemed like it had like multiple main stories in it. Like it was
Skyrim
so good.
felt ahead of its time.
Oh yes,
Skyrim
absolutely.
was
Because
so
you had like the Brotherhood storyline, which seemed like its own main storyline. You had the warring factions between the Empire and the Stormcloaks, which seemed like its own main storyline, and of course, the Dragonborn thing, which was its own main story. So like it seemed like there was so
The
much you
DLC
could
were all
do.
great.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So yeah, And I just loved the one thing I loved about Skyrim was the world. The only thing I didn't like about the world was after a while the caves started seeming like the same. But other than that, I mean,
they were always rewarding though. Like at the end, like it was always worth it because at least like the loot progressed.
I never liked caves. Never liked them.
The towns. There's so
the
many
towns were great.
They're all different. The towns all had different people you could talk to, different quests, different all kinds of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It was so
literally
good.
everyone had quests. Everyone in the town had something you could do.
Oh yeah.
You could spend a day doing quests.
And like it wasn't like Oblivion either, where like you kind of had to like go searching for it, because like in Oblivion, it's like a lot of people really love Oblivion, but I'm more of a Skyrim fan myself because like if you went into not Falkreath, what's the one with the Thieves Guild, the town with the Thieves Guild?
I know you're talking about.
But anyways, if you went to the town with the Thieves Guild, like you wouldn't have to like walk around and like really look for the Thieves Guild because he would come up to you and like ask you to do something kind of really sketchy, which was really nice, at the time. Yeah, Riften, and but like if you did like that, like anonymity of like trying to find like a quest like in Oblivion where it's much more difficult, the Dark Brotherhood was for you because you had to like figure out that you had to kill someone, then go to sleep, and then you had to go to wherever that contract was and pick into it and everything. I mean, so that was really cool.
At least like in the meantime of Skyrim and stuff, there's some pretty anticipated games, some that are already released that like we can at least have to fill the void. Like I know Far Cry 5 is out now. Sea of Thieves is really popular.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out.
Red Dead Redemption 2, and
so it's only on the Xbox.
I just saw this actually. Metro is getting a new installment.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Metro, like a whole new game, or is it just like another revamp?
It's another sequel to Metro.
Metro
they're making
Exodus coming out fall 2018. I really like the Metro series. I really enjoy
it. I like both of those games.
I never really got into them, but I've heard only good things about them.
They're pretty good.
Yeah,
the game that I'm most interested in getting, which has a lot of mixed reviews, because I'm really into like the realism stuff. I really like Mountain Blade and everything, and like Arma. Is Kingdom Come Deliverance, which has been out for quite a bit now. And if you're like really into the realism stuff, apparently that game's supposed to be fantastic. So I'm thinking about investing in that because like apparently
I saw that.
You can get like diseases and stuff just from like touching people.
I ain't about that stuff, dude.
Which sounds pretty cool.
It's like medieval times, right?
Too long.
It's like medieval time shit.
Yeah, medieval times. Yeah, I think I'll probably get that for this like summer. Waste my life playing that game.
Yeah, I was looking at that. That does look pretty baller.
It looks really realistic, and I really like stuff like that. Apparently, though, like not quick time events, but like the fighting is like a lot of slow motion stuff, which apparently can get kind of annoying. But I feel like that's the only way to make it playable for the character or the player. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what it's like. I'll probably invest in that at some point and hope that it meets all my highest hopes and dreams.
I'm kind of sad. We're all Xbox players here, but there's some good ones coming out for PlayStation, like Spider-Man, God of War 4.
Always. You got what's the Last of Us came out on PS4. God of War came out on PS4. I feel like we really jumped on the wrong hype train with the Xbox.
Yeah, maybe. But hey,
that's all right. Hey, there's probably still stuff in the works. You never know.
Hey,
yeah, sure.
So, we're going to talk about now a very strange fad that's not new. It's existed for a while. I saw it a couple years ago, but now I guess it's making a resurgence. Clearly, everybody's doing edgy stuff with eating Tide Pods and all that weird shit. But now there's a fad of people shoving condoms up their nose, snorting it, reaching to the back of their throat, and pulling it out of their mouth. And it's called
it's kind of like the Tide Pod thing.
So are they doing used condoms too, or is it just normal?
There's probably some sick fucks out there that have done that, but
I don't think it has the same allure as the Tide Pod challenge does, because they had some like good memes with that, like the forbidden fruit and stuff. I thought that shit was pretty hilarious. This but like the condom challenge just kind of seems like really, really dumb. Like I can't see.
It's just disgusting. There's no purpose to it.
Yeah. I mean, I could get some laughs because I appreciate some dark humor with the Tide Pod challenge, but like really, I don't find the condom snorting challenge to be funny in any way.
No, you're okay. If someone did that in front of me, I would laugh so hard.
I would laugh.
In front of
It's
me,
so
yeah.
funny.
Well, everything's
so
better in real life.
I would
What?
walk out. That's so freaking nasty.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think I'd like
hilarious,
to.
dude.
I don't know. I'm not into that type of stuff.
Imagine Joe doing that. Like, what if it was like
Okay.
there was some like health
But Joe
benefit?
wouldn't do
I
that.
would transfer
Joe
schools
couldn't do
immediately.
that.
It's like the enema. You want that shit?
Yeah, well,
No.
Joe's freaky. He wants to get waterboarded, shove stuff up his butt, and snort condoms. let him
Yeah,
do it.
would it surprise you guys?
No.
After
We're really
that,
slandering Joe's name right now.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
hey, we haven't said his last name
Yeah, this
or
is
his
true.
real name actually.
That's true.
We'll retain your anonymity for now, Joe.
He'll be on. He'll be on. Don't worry.
Yeah, Joe's a pretty
Yeah.
generic name, so it's not like.
Well, we'll have to get him on as a
There's
guest.
plenty of Joes. In fact,
Yeah,
we
he'll
know
be
2
on.
Joes.
Yes.
But
That's true.
If we ever become large, I'll feel very
alright,
bad
here's
for
a
Joe.
question. Here's a question that was posed earlier. How much would you need to be paid to snort a condom and pull it out of your mouth?
$100.
100?
Only
That's
100.
reasonable.
I think 200.
I mean,
200
you have to think. There's a pretty good chance that bitch just gets stuck. Like, I mean, like, how often do you think it happens, or they snort it up and just can't get it out, and it's just a condom stuck?
Probably
Yeah,
not
I
that
would
often.
say-
Well, nah, see, it can't go the whole way up into your nostril though. You have to like really pull it through.
Do you think there's any cases of people like snorting it up, and then it just goes all the way in and just down their throat, and they're,
Yeah, see, if it goes down your throat, you're really screwed.
You're really fucked.
Condom
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not going to fare well in your intestines. It's not going to.
That's
be
why-
bad.
I'm
Or
sorry,
hey,
I'm
it
sorry,
might even
an
go down
initiative.
your lungs or your windpipe.
Yeah, I'm starting an
Oh, that would
initiative
really
to put.
fucking suck.
I'm starting an initiative to put holes in condoms, so when you snort them, you have air, a little bit of room to breathe. Now,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah, I
downside
bet you
to
there's a
it.
demand for that. From a business perspective, you could probably make condoms with holes in it.
Just for
Just
snorting.
for the snorting thing. Yeah.
Snorting.
But see, you can
condoms.
stretch a condom
Oh.
out pretty far to the point where if it's getting stuck, you could just pull it back out through. Like, you just go the other way you came in, and it'll be fine.
I mean, if
You're just
this,
not going to get stuck in your nose. You know what I mean?
that's true. If this
But if it
gets-
goes down
No,
your
I actually haven't
throat,
seen people do
you're,
this
you're
yet.
done for.
If this
Yeah.
gets anywhere as big as the Tide Pod challenge, companies will definitely take advantage and make like snortable ones, like where you like would be less dangerous.
I mean, I feel like you don't even need that. You could probably just like cut a hole in it yourself.
Yeah, but the thing is, because like with the Tide Pod challenge, I'm pretty sure Snickers made like a Tide Pod Snickers bar or something like that.
That's pretty great. I didn't know that.
It might not have been Snickers, but it was some candy bar company. That was actually pretty big. I don't know if it's true or not. Like made us like a candy bar of the Tide Pod.
That's pretty clutch.
Yeah, you'd think so. But now we have kids like dying from eating laundry detergent, and now
I think that phase is kind of over now.
yeah, but,
Yeah, exactly, natural selection. But
People die.
I
yeah,
mean,
like
we-
most memes nowadays, it'll die within like a month or two.
Yeah, but the condom
I mean,
snorting challenge was an old challenge, and it just got brought back. What's
Yeah,
saying like
no,
2
I don't-
years? from now,
exactly.
kids aren't
Stuff will
even-
always come back, but it's like it'll always die out for a while. I mean,
How
this
long
is
has-
gonna die
how
out
long
quick,
has
I think.
Pepe been a meme?
I feel like it will.
That's
It's
just
not
Well,
gonna
there's a
get enough
difference.
traction.
There's like a shelf life for different types of memes. Challenges
true.
never last long.
That's true.
Yeah.
Except for the cinnamon challenge.
Cinnamon
No,
challenge.
Yeah,
is
that
always
one.
good.
Well,
That one's
lasts a
kind of
good bit.
immortal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not talked about now, but yeah, it was. Yeah, but I do agree with you saying it. Challenges go really quick.
Yeah, I mean, but they go really quick because new ones come up. Like, I mean, it's like I feel like every other week
Yeah.
it's some sort of new bullcrap challenge. Whether it's like legit or not.
There's
Like, it
never
could just
been
be-
like 2 challenges running at once, though.
It could just be like I'm playing Fortnite blindfolded backwards and I won.
Hey, here's a question for you guys. Have any of you actually partaken in any of these challenges?
The cinnamon
Fuck
challenge.
I haven't done the cinema. I feel like there's a challenge I've done at one point, but
You guys probably. I didn't do it, but you guys. I think Cole did the ALS
I didn't do it.
bucket challenge.
I
I
did,
didn't do
the ALS bucket challenge. I
Yeah,
did.
I mean, a lot of people did that one. That lasted a decent bit, but
Yeah, at least that one was for like a good cause. Now
Yeah,
it's all
that
like
one was
harm
Yeah,
your body.
Dude,
Yeah, that was
let's
the
eat
best.
Tide Pods for autism.
Tide Pods for autism.
Jesus.
Okay, so a little bit
you have to be
scandalous.
autistic to do it.
What was that?
You have to be autistic to eat a Tide Pod.
Yes.
So
So
you're
Yeah.
you're,
yourself,
really, you're really
essentially.
supporting yourself here. It's just a whole support system going on. So a little bit of a scandal in the news here recently. From what I understand, it was taken out of context, but I'll let somebody who's more versed in it talk about it more. But Pope Francis of the Catholic faith said that there is no hell. and that contradicts what the religion has taught for a long time and shit like that. But from what I understand, it was a misunderstanding. But I'll let somebody more versed in it describe
Okay,
it.
so I have the exact quote of what he said. He was in an interview with a guy, an Italian guy.
Yeah.
I forget his
Italian atheist.
Italian name. He was an atheist, but yeah, he quoted Pope Francis saying, "They are not punished. Those who repent obtain the forgiveness of God and enter the rank of souls who contemplate him. But those who do not repent and cannot therefore be forgiven disappear." So he's not saying there is or isn't a hell. He's just saying they disappear.
Yeah, which
Well,
is really interesting. I like the idea that that's almost more damning than hell itself. The idea of
just
with hell, you've always had this idea of hell where hell exists, but even if hell exists, at least you still exist. The idea of you just disappearing, the idea of there being a void, nothingness, that's almost scarier than hell itself. And I feel like that's what he's suggesting.
Isn't Buddhism like reincarnation or the void?
That's Hinduism.
Whatever, same
Reincarnation.
It's either reincarnation or the void, and that's I'm getting those vibes. He's gonna next just talk about how reincarnation is a thing.
I feel like I know where he was going with it.
Oh yeah.
But he was probably saying about purgatory. We all go to purgatory first, okay?
Yeah.
And it's the ones that you see go to heaven, but the other ones don't make it there, and they just kind of disappear from purgatory, essentially saying that they go to hell. You just never see them again.
The way I interpret it is he's saying heaven or hell is the absence of heaven. So if you're not in heaven, if you're not in heaven, hell. You're a sinner, you are in hell, which is as far as away you'll be from heaven, which is God. So you are as far away from happiness and everlasting life, which means you are in hell, which is the opposite of that.
Well, I don't interpret it that way. I interpret it. I think he's saying more if you don't go to heaven, it almost sounds more like what Judaism believes, where there is no hell in Judaism, where there's just nothing. If your hell is nothing, hell is just a concept that we kind of created. Even though the Catechism does say something even more different, which suggests that there's fiery pits and shit.
Yeah, that's the description we get from the Bible.
No, and
the Catechism. It says the Catechism says the teaching of the Church affirms the existence of hell and its eternity.
Yep.
Immediately after the death of souls of those.
I personally don't really follow any of that stuff myself, but I find that it really.
Was the Catechism before or after the Bible?
It's after the Bible.
It's after the Bible.
They're taking that description from the Bible, and that description from the Bible is a description in whatever, I think Revelations at the very end, they talk about how hell is fire, pits, and death and all that. But that description, how can that description be as credible as Adam and Eve, which we're told to not really believe because it shouldn't be taken literally. So why should we take the description of hell being fire and flames literally too?
Yeah,
should we even follow the Bible? It was written by a bunch of people who didn't know where the sun went at night.
That's true.
But see, there's also so many other books and stuff in the Bible. The Bible is essentially what the Catholic Church deemed out of a whole lump sum of just artifacts and teachings from the past that they say are canon to the church. So there's other stuff.
I think that's so biased.
There's other stuff written that could have possibly been the correct way. I don't know. It's very difficult to talk about religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not trying. Keep in mind, we're not trying to offend anyone. In this call, there's a wide variety of different beliefs.
There's beliefs on beliefs.
Take it with a grain of salt.
The Pope is on a different wavelength, and he's saying some stuff about how that.
It's not like it would be surprising if the Pope was making claims about there being no hell. He's contradicted to Catholic faith or the teachings prior, with homosexuality and stuff like that. So it's not like it's new.
Yeah, I think John Paul II said something similar about hell. Basically the same thing, really. That hell is just the absence of heaven and nothing. If you're not going to heaven, you are just living in nothing. So
I guess it doesn't really matter for.
You're not living in nothing because you become soulless.
I guess hell is the name that we give it. Is essentially what I think he's trying to.
We assign the fire and
we just give it a name.
Because of the Bible, I think.
Was there a time in your guys' life when you weren't allowed to say the word hell?
Nope.
As a curse word? My parents would be like, hey, no. It's HE double hockey sticks, you goddamn kid.
Hell's always been...
No, I don't think my parents I mean, they get upset when I was younger, but I don't think I was kind of I said a lot of curse words when I was younger, especially around my friends. But I definitely just kind of didn't have curse words in my vocabulary at all when I was around my parents. So I
didn't curse
I don't think they would have been
words.
offended if I said hell, but I also wouldn't have used it around my parents.
Well, I mean, I couldn't even say crap until I was like in high school. My parents were like, no. Crap's a bad one. Just say poopy or something the same.
I'm pretty sure my parents are cool with me saying shit.
So let's move on to something that our good friend here, Jerry Gomez, or Jarrett Mueller, or whatever you want to go by here, he found. It's an article about in South Asia, apparently in the house of this family, a monkey came in and stole a baby. And then the baby was dead.
What happened? No, wait.
Let's let the boy talk.
Yeah.
What happened was there was a kid sleeping underneath the mosquito net because malaria and shit. And I guess he was outside. I guess he had like a tent or something. And a monkey just kind of rolled up and snatched the kid. And then so I think they're looking for him for like a day or two or something. And then I guess the monkey went to a well to either get something to drink or whatever with the kid and dropped the kid into the well. And they found him like dead in a well.
Yeah, this is all
16 months. No. This is on CNN, guys. CNN.
Oh, we know how credible CNN is.
Yeah, it's on multiple. It's like on BBC.
Is that the Credible News Network?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing it on some website called Straits Times. So I mean, hey.
I'm seeing it on BuzzFeed.
Oh, then
Fuck all news.
True. That's true.
Wait. Okay, not to interrupt, but an article just popped up here that says Kim Jong-un was deeply moved after K-pop performance.
Nice.
It was euphoric. It was euphoric.
Okay, I mean,
Euphoric.
who here
metal.
has truly embraced the culture of like K-pop? Who has truly just been like,
No.
I'm gonna
No, I
listen to a
haven't.
K-pop song?
Cole, you're a weeb, so like, get out of here with this, man.
Yeah, but I've never listened to K-pop in that sense. Like,
Apparently K-pop was actually deployed in North Korea as a soft weapon,
soft.
but now he's saying that he is actually moved by like,
cultural weapon.
I guess, yeah, that's
What?
Jesus Christ, that's weird. I don't know, it just came up. That was something.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, that's great. What the hell? I like
Aren't the
how it
K-pop
says he's
people, like-
moved. Like he's trying to relate to our sensitive sides. He's like, I threaten to nuke a country. I'm like enslaving a whole country. I'm a piece of garbage.
It must have said something about like.
But I'm into
America.
K-pop.
But I was moved by a K-pop performance. That one
What a
really
guy.
got to me.
Fucking Nightcore or some shit.
All right, so last topic of the day, as suggested by our friend here, Ian Sims. We're going to talk about self-driving cars, Tesla, anything futuristic with cars. We're going to talk about it.
Sooner or
You
later,
wanna start this?
every car company will have self-driving cars. It's a matter of
The
time.
singularity will
I think
exist.
Toyota said by like 2050, like they're gonna have self-driving cars. Like,
I don't want self-driving cars.
Yeah,
I don't
honestly.
want self-driving.
Yeah.
I'd rather just drive.
neither do I. I like having that freedom of just
Physical-
doing whatever.
I love driving.
It's
Yeah,
a whole
I-
culture.
I saw a
Right.
projection that within 80 years they could have this singularity formed. Which
Well,
you
what about
guys are familiar with the
Elon
singularity.
Musk's? What about
Right.
Elon Musk's like underground tunnels and shit? Like he's gonna.
Oh,
have,
those are actually really cool. That's just to help with California's infrastructure problems.
like, I thought it was doing it like all over the U.S.
Well,
City
maybe
stuff.
eventually large scale, but within 30 years, it'd be a blessing just to have that in California, really.
Do you think there'll ever be a time in history where we will live underground?
No, I don't think so. Not in
where,
my
maybe.
where we will
In
be
a
forced to
couple
live
100,000
underground.
years. Maybe.
I think it's more likely that we'll live on another planet than live underground.
Yeah, but say like colonization of another planet. Like, what if we can't like ship everybody from the Earth to?
Then why would we
Mars?
live underground?
I would
don't know.
say
Maybe, like
if
a nuclear holocaust, we'll
war-
live underground.
You realize we can? You're trying to a nuclear holocaust? Well, that would
Yeah,
be.
that's what I would think. If war was like
Oh, no,
just
like-
something always on our shoulders in our world, I feel like most civilization would begin to move underground.
It'd be so
Here's an
fucking
interesting
earthquake.
fact. Did you know that we could fit all 8 billion people within the state of Texas?
That's pretty cool.
lit.
Wow.
Is that like shoulder to shoulder, or just-
Yeah, like
there's,
shoulder to shoulder.
Another fun fact about Texas: there actually is a giant like pile of trash floating in the ocean. that
Oh,
if you
yeah,
put it
it's
all- Put it
massive.
all together, it would be the size of Texas.
Yeah, that's concerning. Pollution's no fun.
Dude,
of
maybe,
course.
do you think that, like, at any point in history, people will live on that giant Texas-sized pollution?
It's
No.
spread out. They're just saying, like if they poured a
That
put
would
out-
be an interesting use of said pollution, but I
There'd
don't
have to
think
be more.
That
There'd
would
be a ton more.
That's a good TV show there. Like, in the future, people just live on a pile of trash.
that sounds like Wally, where he like lives in fucking garbage and
Hey,
shit.
are you making fun of Wally?
No,
It's my shit.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
You're citing
Underrated.
Yeah, no slander against Wally here.
Underrated, man.
Underrated. Yeah, I mean, we
But-
didn't really talk about self-driving cars that much.
I mean, that was I mean, we didn't really talk about the baby stealing, the monkey stealing
That's
the
'cause
baby
the
either.
story's fake.
Well, yeah, but there's not too much like
I don't
this.
believe-
Like, I mean, isn't it scary? Like, I mean, there's like a self-driving Uber.
Yes.
Didn't it kill like
I mean,
three
you could
people?
really. I think it's more scary. I don't think the self-driving car itself is scary. I think the
Someone hacking it.
the whole
Hack your shit.
AI
That would worry
thing
me.
is scary. Like
Yeah,
the
it opens up-
artificial
it opens up the
intelligence.
opportunity for people to hack. It also, if you're dealing with technology,
Oh,
you're gonna
terrorism and shit with
You're
that
gonna
would
have
be interesting.
errors.
Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
have like problems with it. Like think of computers. How many times has a computer crashed? And
Well, I think actually, as of now, like most modern cars can be hacked and like driven.
Yeah, but
There
like,
you go.
it'll be so much different if like you have zero control of the car.
It could be a
Well, I don't think
widespread
that's
thing
ever.
too.
I don't think that's ever what's going to happen. I feel like they'll always have some control of the car. Like with the current Tesla models, like if
You still have to have the steering wheel. I think that's still like
Yeah,
a
and you- and, like,
mandated
and
law.
There was recently a death with one of these self-driving cars. I think over the weekend, and the car alerts you when to grab onto the steering wheel, and it had swerved into the median, and the man died. I guess he might have been asleep at the wheel or something, but that definitely wasn't the car's fault. That was more so the driver's
yeah.
fault.
I mean, user error is a big thing too. Like, I mean, just because
Well, yeah,
it's
that's the
self-driving
thing.
doesn't
We're
mean
just
you're not
becoming more
gonna die.
lazy, really, aren't we?
I mean, if you're like think about this, like it'll be a long time before every car is forced to be self-driving.
I doubt in our lifetime.
Yeah, definitely
It
not.
is.
So like, say in our
Hopefully not.
lifetime, like half of them are self-driving, and like you're just like chilling behind the wheel, like I don't know, making out with sexy Betty in the passenger seat, and some asshat on the other side of the road swerves over and hits you, and you're just not prepared for it because you're in a self-driving car. You can't swerve, you can't like do anything, react. You just kind of like.
Well, I actually saw a really interesting article about that. So like, it was basically self-driving cars are since they're gonna have access to the internet, they're gonna be able to access medical files. So say like they're in like this, situation where it's the driver is going to die, or the person standing in front of the car that's moving very quick is gonna die, unless the car gets to choose between life or death for the driver and life or death for the person standing in front of them.
That's
So
fucked up.
apparently you'll be able to like facially analyze the person standing in front of them and make this split-second decision based on medical records. So like if the driver is like
Wow.
some 70-year-old
That's messed
man and the girl is some 20-year-old girl, they'll choose to kill the driver than
That's
kill the girl.
insane. That's so stupid. That's scary because that's like ethical dilemma territory. Like one of the big ethical dilemmas.
I have a
is,
question
like,
for you
if
guys.
there's like
That's-
6 babies
I think
in
that's
the road,
fair.
do you
Yeah,
hit
well,
the
it
Which
baby?
sounds
would rather have
fair,
alive,
but
the
it's fucked up.
20-year-old or the 7-year-old?
Well, yeah, no, I agree
but
with
it's
you,
not-
but like
it's
there
not
should
up to-
never
it's
be
not up
that.
to them
That
to
should
decide.
never exist.
It's
Well,
not
what's
up
it
to,
supposed
it's not
to
up
do?
to the company.
I
to
feel like
decide.
the only way to keep it even is have no like gray area like that, and you always should prioritize the driver's life no matter what.
It should
That's
be
the only
on
way to
the
keep
like
it
if the pedestrian is crossing the road and they aren't diligent and get hit by the car, that's their fault. It doesn't matter what age is. It's like how can like say Tesla decide somebody's life if they're like 70 years old? Like what if that old person has like what if he's like just like like a 70-year-old
What if
who
it's
like
Stephen
adopted a
Hawking or
bunch of
some
orphans?
shit, some really important figure?
Yeah, what if
Apparently, it can also pull up that shit though too, so like it can weigh the person's value and shit, and that gets really
dude,
fucked
this is
up.
getting into some like futuristic
Okay, guys, I have a
psychopath
question.
shit here.
If you
Black.
were operating a train and you were going down and the train tracks
goddamn.
split, okay,
Oh, shit.
the train tracks split, and on the split, there's workers on both the straight part and the split. On the
Are you
split,
trying to give us the moral dilemma situation?
Yeah, he is.
yeah. On the split,
geez,
there is one
okay.
worker working on the train tracks, and the train can't be stopped. It can only be switched. You can either make the switch or go straight. On the straight path, there's 5 workers. So you have
So the
5
one
workers if you go straight, and if you split it, which that's all you can do on the train, you can't stop the train. If you split it, you take out one person. If you don't, you take out 5. Which would you guys do?
Definitely one.
That's an easy question. You're one person.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand what you're trying to say
yeah,
there, but
yeah,
I feel like
change
in
it
a
up.
driverless car, though, you
Change it
should
up
always.
If I
change
told
it up
you-
to 5 people or your wife or your kid.
Okay, what if I told you guys
Who the heck
that
can't know
did
if
a
like a
study.
train's coming at them?
they did a study and it proved that you would take out 5. And you know why?
Why?
Is because in order to take one person, you have to physically make an action to switch the train, which would physically be killing that one person. Otherwise, it would just be the train's fault, and you'd take out 5 people, and you'd be scot-free.
Exactly.
Here, let me ask you this one. So outside of that study and what we know off of that, would you kill the 5? Like, so say on one side of the railroad, it's like 5 20-year-old workers who have like families, or
We
on
know
the other
that.
side of the railroad, it's your kid. Which, like, what would you do?
Well, then I would kill the 5. I mean, I prioritize my children over anything.
Yeah. What if it's like your wife?
Again,
Again,
You take
just
out
kill the
5 no matter what.
it's kind of like anything. Like if you ever think about like how fucked up it is, like we always hear about like every day, like people in like the Middle East being killed by like the thousands and shit, and like us in America like don't really even understand what's going on there, and we just move on with life and don't even really bat an eye. But like if we knew those people dying in the Middle East, we'd be like, oh shit, let's get some people over there like right now, you know. But that's just how it works. If you know someone, you're more inclined to let that person live than the person who's just nothing to you.
That's true. Okay, so that's all we have for today. We're hitting the hour
On
mark
that happy note.
currently.
Yeah. On that happy note,
If you guys watch the entire thing, kudos to you.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
congratulations,
thank
you did it.
And hit that like button and subscribe.
Oh gosh.
But
You know, the only way that you can really help us if you decide to share the video, we'd really, that'd be great.
Leave a comment too on your opinion.
Yeah, sure, we'd love
give
to
us
read
some,
that. We
give us some
go through
topics
every
and
comment.
stuff. We're open to anything. This was our first one. We're gonna try to dish them out like once a week, maybe.
Maybe twice a week.
Yeah, small ones like twice a week or
Maybe
do
3
as
times
many
a
as we
week.
can. We're just trying to
Okay,
get
okay.
vibes out there.
Maybe 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hey, maybe every day, yeah.
Fuck it, yes.
We're trying to get that YouTube
Every day,
revenue,
3
you know?
times.
Yeah. So this group of 5 here is going to be the normal group here. We have some other friends who would probably jump on and join us on occasions, but as of now,
Expect guests.
right now we're going to sign off as the OG5 guys. It's cold
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I had a good time today.
Yeah, have a nice day, everybody.
Yeah, this was good. Okay.
Go, Michigan.
Everybody say goodbye.